So hi, Hillary. I'm so excited to be talking about EFT. I've been hearing about this tapping, and I'm so excited that you're coming to talk about it. So before we get into what EFT is, let's talk a little bit about what you do with EFT.
Okay, perfect. Devora, thank you so much. It really is an honor to be here with you today. I'm an EFT practitioner. They call it accredited certified EFT practitioner. It's a big mouthful. But basically, in a nutshell, I do tapping with my clients, and I work with predominantly like women and children. And we tap on all sorts of different things. So EFT is amazing for anything from anxiety, overwhelm, just being stuck, all the way up to things like PTSD, cravings, weight loss. It can be used for so many different things. It's a beautiful, beautiful modality that I'm loving using, and I'm seeing so many shifts in my clients, which I really, am grateful for.
Right. So anxiety, midlife anxieties kind of goes together. So I'm really excited to be talking about tapping and how it can release. But tell us a little bit about what it does for the brain. What does it do for how does it calm us?
So when you're tapping, you're actually tapping on the acupressure meridian points. So we've got meridians going through our body, which are basically emotional channels of energy. And when you tap on the acupressure points, there are intersections and not only are they intersections of the meridians, but they're also each acupressure point actually relates to different parts of the body. So when there's blockages in the energy flow and you tap on those acupressure meridian points, you actually release that energy. And it sends a calming signal to the amygdala, which basically calms your nervous system.
So when I'm feeling anxious, I could tap my way to calm the amygdala so that I could actually use my brain to think solutions rather than be stressed out.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Okay, so I'm really excited to try this, but let's go a little bit more. So how is that different from, like, say, breath work that releases energy?
So breath work's just another modality, just like you get things like EMDR and NLP and things like that. It's just a different modality that you can use, which, breath is life. So it helps the mind and body to relax. And like people, when they're in shock or when they're in stress mode, like most people know automatically, you can actually sense in your body that your breath is shallow. And so you're not getting enough oxygen flowing through your blood, which when you're actually breathing and you're going to like deep breathing, that actually helps you to calm down and to get out of that like stress mode. So with the tapping, you're actually working with emotional and physical blocks. So when a person's feeling anxious, it causes a blockage in your energy flow, which basically stops you from being able to think straight and find better solutions. So that's basically what it does. It's it just helps you release that energy.
Okay, so let's go through a round. And when we talk about round, like, what do you mean by what do we mean by a round of tapping?
Okay, so one round of tapping, because there's different points that we tap on. So we usually start off on the body chop point, and that's where the sort of the fatty part of the hand over there when you're doing karate, like that's normally where you would hit the broken half or whatever. And so you're tapping on that point, and you usually start off with a setup statement. For example, even though I'm feeling anxious,
I'm feeling anxious, I'm hoping. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to repeat after you. Perfect. I'm really doing this. Go ahead.
Great. We're going to do a round now. And then people can see what one round is. Okay. Even though I'm feeling anxious. I'm open to loving and accepting myself anyway.
Open to loving and accepting myself anyway.
Where I'm at right now. Feeling anxious.
Oh, taking my glasses. Okay. Feeling anxious.
Perfect. And if I would actually ask my client, if I was working with a client, I would ask them before we start, on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the most intense that anxiety is feeling, where are you holding on that scale? And so we would rate it. So if you were feeling anxious, let's say it was a 10, okay, then after the round, you would actually just check how that person's feeling again and rate it again. So, okay, so we're on what's called the eyebrow point over here, feeling anxious.
So we're just tapping,
We're just tapping.
Okay.
And you can, there's no right or wrong with tapping. You can tap with one finger, with two fingers, you can tap on both sides, you can tap with your whole hand. Your body knows actually, because automatically when people are stressed, they'll go like, oi.
That's so true.
Whatever. And they automatically touch the acupuncture, points already. So, okay, we're busy in the middle of a round, sorry.
Okay.
Feeling anxious.
Feeling anxious.
Side of the eye. All this anxiety.
All this anxiety.
Under the eye. I'm feeling so anxious.
I'm feeling so anxious.
Under the nose. All this anxiety in my body.
All this anxiety in my body.
On the chin. I'm feeling so anxious.
Feeling so anxious.
Collarbone is like a little bit down from your
under my
collarbone.
necklace.
Exactly. Feeling anxious.
Feeling anxious.
Under the arm is like a hand's breadth away. So it's kind of like literally in line with your bra strap.
Okay.
All this anxiety.
All this anxiety.
Top of the head. Feeling so anxious.
Feeling so anxious.
Okay, then taking a deep breath and breathe it out. That's what's called a round.
So how many points did we do? One.
So we've got the karate chop point. We've got the two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
and 8.
and 9.
And 9. Okay.
Yeah.
So
there are 9 points.
Okay.
There are other points as well, but we use in between as well. There's a gamut point and finger points, but generally on a normal round of tapping, that's the general round that we'd be using. And then, yeah.
How many rounds do we generally do for let's say a 6 stress, not a 10? Okay,
that's an excellent question. And like what I normally answer my clients is like, how long is a piece of string? It basically depends on the person, and it depends on how stressed they're feeling, what intensity, that stress is, as we said, and also what it triggers, because sometimes it could be triggered by something that, we need to go into. So it might take a little bit longer, a little bit less. The truth is, though, that children shift a lot quicker than adults do.
Okay.
They don't have all the baggage and the layers that we have, so they shift a lot quicker than adults. But in terms of how many rounds, it really depends on the person and what exactly is happening for them.
Okay, so someone would come to you as a practitioner, and firstly just to learn what the points are, and how it works, and then can someone do it on their own, or is there?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, there are a lot of EFT practitioners that actually tap on their clients. I've chosen not to, just generally speaking. I do something that's called surrogate tapping, where I'm actually tapping, especially if I'm working online with a client and they're going through a specific process where they're closing their eyes and things like that. Then I will do what we call surrogate tapping, which is tapping on them, even though I'm not like physically touching them. But I do prefer to empower my clients to be able to do it for themselves, so that when they're in a situation where they are feeling anxious, or they are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, whatever the feelings are that they're feeling, that they're able to do it for themselves. Because you can't always just, phone up a practitioner at 11 o'clock at night, I'm feeling anxious, can I have a session? It doesn't work like that. But the deeper work, obviously, even for myself, I work with my own practitioner. So that it's very important to be able to do the deeper work as well, because that causes lasting shifts. But when we're talking about superficially, like on a day-to-day basis, where we're feeling anxious, the child's going into an exam, or a business entrepreneur is going into a very important meeting and they're feeling stressed and they're feeling anxious, and they just want a tool to be able to use for that meeting or for that particular circumstance, then the nice thing is that I've taught my clients how to do it, and they can do it for themselves.
So what I'm getting is that there's the general anxiety, and then there's actually deeper anxiety that is worth going to a practitioner and trying to release it for more permanently, rather than going before an exam, like you mentioned, or before a meeting, just to kind of calm us down for the meeting, rather than to solve or work through a bigger issue.
Right. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Like, what happens is that there's a lot of childhood baggage that we carry through to adulthood. And for that kind of thing, it's difficult to work on your own, and it's difficult to work through it. It's not impossible. It is possible. And, for a practitioner, you could even do it yourself. But it's kind of like, in certain circumstances, it's definitely better to work with a practitioner in order to be able to literally resolve those triggers, like, get rid of those, remove those triggers, and get to a point where you're feeling more confident within yourself, more lovable, more, whether it's good enough, worthy, whatever the core beliefs are that a person's taken on because of their childhood. We call it traumas, but trauma doesn't have to be like a major thing. It can be just little things, that cause a, trauma for that.
So when we were doing the round, I was repeating words after you. And I guess that's part of why you would go to a practitioner, because the wording matters. And so I would if I was to learn it to do it for myself, I would have to also learn what kind of wording to use and what to tell myself or what to say out loud.
So I think for when you train as a practitioner, and when you learn how to become a practitioner, you learn certain ways of steering the conversation, and also you become intuitive after working with so many clients, like what that person needs in that particular moment. But if a person is working on their own, even if they're just tapping on the tapping points and focusing on what it is that they're feeling, then they can do that on their own. Like, they don't necessarily have to have words. It could be as simple as, like, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling anxious, and just tapping on that. And then when they rate the intensity, it could even go up. It doesn't always necessarily come down. It could go up, it could stay the same, it could go down. Then after that, then I would do like, once the intensity has gone down to, let's say, I don't know, a 2 or 3, then I would do a round of positive tapping, bringing in positive affirmations, or choosing how they want to feel or what they want, if that makes sense. So it doesn't necessarily have to be fancy wording,
And you say it doesn't even have to be wording. So if you're in public or in a place that you can't be actually adding noise or sound to your voice, you can do it quietly in your head.
Exactly. The words basically just help you to focus more. So when a person's saying it in their mind, sometimes they might get distracted and they might not necessarily be focused on what they're feeling or what they're wanting or what they're choosing. But if you're if a person's in a situation where they're going into an exam, let's say, for example, especially for teenagers, but even for adults, when you're going into a meeting, you don't exactly want to be sitting over there like tapping on your face and tapping. It's like, it's weird enough that that you're tapping on yourself. Mm. So what I do is I use there are actual tapping points on your fingertips that literally like start as the nail bed, there where the nail joins the nail bed over there. So you can actually tap on that, but that also is a bit jarring or a bit too hectic to do in public, maybe for some people. So what I love to do is I actually squeeze on either side of the nail bed. I don't know if you can see that there. So by squeezing on either side of the nail bed, you're hitting the meridian, and at the same time, lots of people play with their fingers and they don't even realize that they're actually,
I can do it
hitting
under
the
the
meridian.
table and you don't even see me doing it.
Exactly.
Okay, I feel it. And again, this finger tapping or finger squeezing, is it work as well as the other, or is it like sort of like second best? Or
so with tapping, it's a very forgiving process, which is amazing, and I love the fact that it's so forgiving. It doesn't really matter what you do as long as you're doing something. So it does make it, as I say, each tapping, I don't want to go into it right now because
no, we're doing this as short. This is definitely a short,
exactly.
very short overview. Go ahead.
But the bottom line is that literally each tapping point is an acupressure point, and each acupuncture point or acupressure point, whichever one you want to call it, like relates to a different part of the body. So even the finger points, relate to different parts of the body. So whatever you're doing, like I'll give you an example, which isn't really what you asked me now, but I had a group, like a group EFT tapping session at one point in time, and the person had a sore shoulder. And by the time we were finished tapping, the pain in the shoulder had gone, because that's part of the block, obviously, like that it had caused, and the physical pain that it had caused, this emotional block.
Like the body keeps the score.
Physical. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's so cool. So just from tapping, so she released the anxiety, and her shoulder was better. She wasn't even you weren't even touching the shoulder.
We weren't even touching the shoulder. We were literally tapping on the acupressure meridian points, and I've had clients before where the one client couldn't touch, she didn't feel comfortable tapping on that one particular point. And I asked her, how is it, with I think it was her liver at the time, I can't remember exactly, but it was, I said, like, how is your liver, like, health-wise? And she said, no, it's fine, whatever. And she went to, I think, a GP the next day, if I'm not mistaken, and she phoned me up. She said, you won't believe it, I'm having an issue with my liver.
Wow.
And she couldn't tap on it. She actually couldn't tap on that particular part of the body.
It's so interesting. So this tapping is so cool. Maybe Hillary, we can do another session off camera about really getting into it. That is so cool.
With pleasure.
All right. So Hillary, how can someone reach out to you?
So the easiest way is via my email or even WhatsApp. You can contact me on Hillary@energizedliving.com. That's actually on the screen there.
Right.
That's my email address. Or otherwise, if somebody wants to contact me via WhatsApp, they can contact me. It would be I'm in South Africa.
We hear that. We hear your accent. We can't know that. Yeah.
Exactly. So it would be +27 79 49 888 72. And they can just WhatsApp me and get hold of me that way. Or, as I say, just on my email address is probably the easiest.
Right. And you'll work with people all around the world, because I got you and I'm sitting here in North America. So
yeah, it's amazing. I love it because you can work on, people say, can you do therapy online? I'm like, yes, you can do EFT online. So I work with people overseas, and I work with the local people face-to-face online. And yeah, it all works.
This is so cool. I'm definitely, let's do this, Hillary, and I'll report back to everybody how this works for me.
Super.
So,
Looking forward.
All right. Thank you so much.